We got Gators Breakdown here. We know we're business.
Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Coming at you with another commitment reaction video right here, reaction episode right here on Gators Breakdown. This time, Tae'Shaun Gelsey, tight end from Riverside in Jacksonville, committing to the Florida Gators at the tight end spot. Played wide receiver in high school, but a tight end at the next level here for the Gators. We'll talk about it all right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. So hit that like button, subscribe right here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform if you're not subscribed yet. But smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Really, really helps us out, of course. And, of course, keep the conversation going. Gators Breakdown Plus. Link is in the description. Join the Discord. I have some really good chats going on there, but also going to be doing, hopefully, another voice chat coming up soon for an episode. But if you want to have those conversations with me, other Gators Breakdown Plus members, link is in the description to join Gators Breakdown Plus. All good stuff going on there. And look, you probably hear my voice a little bit. Another bout of COVID right here. So forgive me if there's some sneezes, some snuffles, some coughs, all that. We'll get through it right here. But, of course, with a 904 commit from Jacksonville, got to power through right here. Would have done it anyway, but have to for a 904 commit. But, yeah, we'll get into it all right here. But, guys, yeah, look, you know how we do it. Hey, Gator Nation, let's go. We got to commit. And this time, it is Tae'Shaun Gelsey from Riverside High in Jacksonville. Plays wide receiver there, but the Gators view the 6'4", 215-pound athlete as a receiving tight end. As a wide receiver, 24/7 Sports rates him as a 3-star player, ranking the 548th overall in the country and the 85th wide receiver in the country. They own 3 industry rankings, 3-star there as well. They place him as a tight end. He's the 41st tight end in the country, 708th player overall on the On3 industry rankings. So the 3-star chose the Gators, with other schools being considered Auburn, Kentucky, UCF, Wake Forest, and Tulane, with the Gators in the green wave kind of separated from the pack, separated from the others, as they were the only ones that received official visits. He visited many times in recent years for Florida, and coming recently as this spring as well, visited a lot of times for the junior days and for spring practice, just checking out the Gators a lot over the spring. Got that offer from Florida in the spring, but the communication's been there for a while. Tight ends coach Russ Callaway, wide receivers coach Chad Lucas were the main factors of this staff pulling Gelsey in. This was a decision that was originally scheduled for late July, but Gelsey sped up his decision about a month ahead of time. So he's credited with 48 passes caught for 859 yards and 9 touchdowns at wide receiver in 2023. And in 2022, he went for 32 catches and 503 yards with 5 touchdowns. So 14 touchdowns the last couple of years from the wide receiver spot there in his sophomore and junior seasons. So, all right, let's pull up some highlights if you're watching the YouTube version, and you'll just see it. I mean, the first thing you notice is the big body, the option, making it easy for his quarterback, but just the big-time target that just makes the catches when the ball is thrown his way. Plays basketball. You can certainly see that athleticism, and it translates onto the football field into these football highlights as well. But it's a fluid receiver transitioning to tight end. His potential as a pass-catching tight end, it's going to be noteworthy. If he can make these catches at that spot, and then look, I think when you see him at Florida, you'll see some outside. You'll see him at receiver as a tight end as well. But he excels in winning in one-on-one situations, going up, snatching the ball over defenders in traffic. Well-timed jumps, particularly beneficial in the red zone. That's what you see a lot here. That's what's clearly visible in these highlights. He's a mismatch in those situations. And you can see the confidence in the quarterback just throwing it up to Gelsey and him coming down with it. Also shows some nice catch and run ability while breaking tackles, using that big body to his advantage of not being an easy target to bring down. I mean, he just shows great body control using his frame, whether it be near the sideline, back of the end zone, or just breaking those tackles. He knows how to control his body. Shows the ability to get open early in routes as well, to make a catch, separate from his defender, and then he's off to the races. And we got a great first step to get open, to beat the coverage. He just finds a way to make catches, and a lot of those, to me, is just a quarterback relying on him to make a big play. A big target, making it easy for his quarterback. You see a few screens, some short passes that show his yak and break tackle ability. And if you go back into the spring, back at the Battle Miami event earlier this year, it was reported by 24/7 Sports that Gelsey could see the transition to a tight end. And, quote, he too looks to have plenty of growth potential and was a straight-up mismatch down near the goal line in this setting, in the quote. He was also labeled as a standout in the one-on-one portion of the Under Armour Next camp in Orlando earlier this year. So all in all, a true receiving threat at the tight end spot, and a tight end that can line up as a wide receiver and closer to the offensive line once he gains that weight and experience down the line. So over and over again, as you see, I mean, just complete confidence in the quarterback to just, hey, man, I'll throw it up to you. You're going to come down with it. So, but you see, I mean, he just, if you're watching the YouTube version, just, I think you have to like the option here as a pass catching tight end and what he brings to the table. But that's what I'm talking about here in this highlight, being able to shed tackles, yards after the catch. I mean, I think it's a pretty good option here for Florida, to build this tight end room. The way they've recruited it lately, I mean, here you go, a slant for a catch and run and breaking tackles. I mean, he shows a good bit of versatility here at the tight end spot. So Gelsey is the 8th commit for the class of 2025, joining 4-star edge Jalen Wiggins from Tallahassee, 4-star running back Waltez Clark from Tampa, 4-star wide receiver Joshua Moore, who Florida just got as well from West Broward, 4-star defensive lineman Jeremiah McLeod, 3-star tight end Micah Jones, so 2 tight ends now in this class for the Gators, 3-star running back Chad Gasper from Texas, and then 3-star punter Hayden Craig from Maine. And as I said, second tight end, Gators should be done with the tight end spot in just about the span of a week. Of course, Micah Jones got his commitment last Friday. Got 6'5", 220 pounds. He's rated as a 3-star as well. Definitely more in that mold of an inline blocking tight end, but does show some nice catch and run ability as well. Reliable receiver at the tight end spot, but he's got a knack for catching the balls in traffic as well. Might not be the fastest out there, but knows how to keep moving, aware of where the first down marker is. Jones he's with that size, he's college ready. 6'5", 250 pounds, got that impressive build. But he also shows that he's great as acting as that blocker, and then just kind of sneaking out, releasing downfield as a receiver. Manages to slip past defenders unnoticed, making him an even bigger run after the catch threat in an offense. So also a pretty good safety valve. So pretty good, duo here for Florida. You got Amaris Jackson last cycle. Now 2 tight ends this cycle. So it gives Florida similar combos. Whenever this last episode, when it looked promising that Florida was going to get Gelsey, but very similar, this class of 2025 and these commitments there from Jones and Gelsey, very similar combo to what you see on the field for Florida right now, where Arlis Boardingham has more as that pass-catching receiver style of tight end, and then the blocking first and making the occasional catch, Hayden Hansen. So that's what you kind of see here from this 2025 combo of Gelsey and Jones. So there we go. 8 commits right now for the Gators in the class of 2025. Now, Florida, with that 8th commitment, 65th, using the calculator here, 65th in the country with this commitment on the 24/7 Sports composite. So let's go over some more recruiting storylines. Kind of the last couple of days, heading into this weekend. And let's just stay in Jacksonville for a second. And just in case you missed it, not a huge surprise, really, But one of the top safeties in the country, Hilton Drake Stubbs, decommitted from USC a couple of days ago. Florida was a school trending when he surprisingly committed to the Trojans back in March. He visited Florida and Miami the last couple of weekends, with both schools feeling good with where they're at in this recruitment after those official visits. Hardly anyone thought he would stay committed to USC, but it couldn't be overlooked. In talking with my colleague at News4Jax, Justin Barney, who covers high school sports better in Jacksonville than anyone, the Stubbs family want Hilton to stay close to home, and both Florida and Miami fit that bill. Florida, of course, being closer. Once again, he really wants to see what Florida looks like this fall. It has said it's not necessarily about the record, but he wants to see progress in certain areas. That Florida versus Miami game to kick off the season. Look, that may be big on and off the field for both programs, especially in regards to this recruitment. And I think we can take one target off the board for now at the defensive line spot. Myron Charles committed to Florida State on Friday. He chose the Noles over Florida, Miami, and Texas. The Gators certainly had interest here, but the Noles were going to be hard to beat in this one for the 6'4", 295-pound defensive tackle prospect. Currently, Florida has Jeremiah McLeod that can play inside for the Gators at 6'3", 285 pounds. I'm a big fan of McLeod and think he should rise in the rankings, but it would have been nice to pair him with Charles, especially because it looks like Florida won't be the choice. There's kind of some news coming out of this past week as well. Newberry defensive lineman Jarquez Carter, who Florida had looked to be trending for all throughout the spring, looks like Florida won't be the choice. He has a decision coming on July 18th and told Corey Bender of Gators Online, quote, "The ones that are really all the way above Florida are Miami, Penn State, Ohio State, and UCF in Florida are kind of tied." So there's another interior option that looks to be heading elsewhere at the moment. And that was, like I said, that was one that trended Florida, or seemed to be trending Florida, heading into the official visits. And coming out of official visits, doesn't look to be trending that way. I mean, this one's right down the road in Newberry. And at this moment, if you take him for his word, Florida's not really in this one right now. And then the last bit of news for this weekend, and hopefully it won't be bad news down the road, but the last bit of news for this weekend is Florida edge commit Jalen Wiggins making a final decision between Florida and FSU. Now, of course, he's from over there in the Panhandle, in Tallahassee. He says he's going to take this weekend, review his official visits, and then go from there. He says this will be a final decision. He'll shut down his recruitment and will not take any more visits. Now, from conversations I've had in the last couple of days, I still expect Florida to be his final decision. He's the highest rated commit for the Gators currently, and certainly one Florida needs to hang on to. And then one more thing, it's being said, Vernell Brown III wants to make his decision sooner rather than later. Now we all expect a July decision, but maybe it'd be early July instead of late July. He wants to make this decision sooner rather than later and wants to get the process over with. So don't be surprised if we hear an announcement time in the near future for one of the best players in the country, one of, if not Florida's top target right now. Florida's trending. Hopefully, that's a big statement for this class. That comes pretty soon. So there you go, getting you caught up on a commitment, getting you caught up on the recent storylines related to this Florida class. This was not really ever going to be a whole long of an episode. As I said, kind of under the weather right now. Wanted to get something out for you guys with this commitment, following the news here of the commitment of Tae'Shaun Gelsey from Jacksonville for tight end spot for the Gators. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.